Information is a source of development. Stay tuned.
We feed you with the right information, the right topic of interest, and the right conversation.
I heard the Minister for Information, and he was trying to rationalize why the NSA should not go on strike now. So one of the challenges in Africa, there's a lot of poverty and there's a lot of illiteracy.
Let's talk on Nigeria Info.
You are tuned in to 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Set your time on Nigeria Info, the correct time. It's 6 o'clock.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this morning, residents eat dead fishes after fatal explosion at a petrol dump in Okrika, Rivers State. Senate committee inspects Rivers State axis of East-West Road. President Tinubu meets former governors Wike and El-Rufai. Okonjo-Iweala disowns statement alleging attacks over visit to President Tinubu. Resident doctors list conditions to suspend strike on the foreign-seen Ecuador presidential candidate shot dead at rally. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I am Ifeemi Andrew. Residents are eating dead fishes that littered the environment after a fatal explosion at a fuel dump in Okari Jetty, Okrika local government area of Rivers State. An eyewitness made this known to our correspondent days after the incident, which he says left many fishes dead. It was gathered that the explosion happened on Monday after a hose used in loading products at a Port Harcourt refining depot was poorly handled by workers, causing a spill since July 31. Reports say many scooped and stored the product in different locations, but that didn't clean up the spill. According to the reports, two fishermen who came to fish near the jetty with lanterns set off the explosion. The witness says 2 people died.
From Ghana country, close to Ghana country. So even the day they open me to that door, people like 2 people died because of the treasure. The man that go to the fishing, they run his light and the fire touch on them. They run, they leave their boat, all the boat and everything burn, and the river on fire, water was boiling with fire. So the following one, even me, I said I pack fish, and I catch fish up 20 or 30,000 naira. People catch up to 50, 60, 100,000. They try it. So the whole river was full with fish.
Initial reports said 16 people died in the explosion, but the chairman of Okrika local government area, Akuro Tobins, says only 4 people died. He said the incident happened when the victims tried to steal petroleum products. No other government agency has spoken on this, and what many say they were initial reports to cover up the explosion. Reacting to this, an environmental rights advocate, Dumnamine Fineface, called for an investigation into the explosion.
But we are more concerned with the people that died and the environmental impact of the incident that has happened. If there was spillage of PMS into the environment, it has damaged the aquatic system, it has affected the fishes in the river, it has affected the sources of livelihoods of the fishermen and the farmers within the area. It is important for the authority, the NNPC, the refinery to come forward and speak about what has happened so that they can carry out environmental cleanup within the area and be able to determine what has caused the incident and then forestall its future occurrences.
Mr. Fineface, who is also the Executive Director of Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, advised federal government agencies like the police, NSCDC and NNPC Limited to address the situation to prevent a recurrence.
that there was a fire incident and explosion in the Okari jetty area. According to our sources within the community, we are told the explosion happened when PMS was being evacuated and transported from a ship in the ocean into the NNPC pipeline to the depot in the NNPC, talking about the Port Harcourt refinery. We are told the process of the oil PMS being moved, that the hose that was used to connect from the ocean's vessel into the pipeline was what pulled out.
Mr. Fineface also appealed to the National Assembly to urgently investigate the continued silence of NOSDRA on the 2-month-old oil spill at Eteo in Elemelico government area of Rivers State.
It is now over 2 months since the spill occurred. Joint investigation visit has not been carried out by NOSDRA in Eteo community. And despite the fact that the GIV has not been carried out, we are getting reports that NNPC, that is responsible for the pipeline that spill crude into that environment, has nicodemously and secretly entered into the community and claimed the spill point. What NNPC needs to do is to engage the community people, discuss and be able to determine the cause of the spill as joint investigation visit is carried out, so that they can know what caused the spill and try to forestall future occurrences, and then the environmental cleanup carried out.
In another development, the immediate past Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, says the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari took necessary measures towards rehabilitating the nation's refineries. Briefing State House correspondents after a private meeting with President Bola Tinubu, Silva said the administration was particularly on course towards completing the Port Harcourt refinery as necessary resources were devoted. He expressed optimism that once the refineries are refurbished, it will address the issues of product supply and also crash down the price of petrol.
At that time, I told you the rehabilitation of the refineries were on course, and we were on course to also conclude the rehabilitation of the 60,000 barrels per day refinery in Port Harcourt, and of course the rest of it was to be concluded later on. And since then, I'm no longer there. I don't know the state of affairs now. But I must tell you that at that time, everything was on course to ensure that our refineries were working.
Meanwhile, Chairman of Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petroan in Rivers State, Francis Dimpa, says members of the organization are facing some hurdles in getting licenses for the operation of compressed natural gas (CNG). It comes after President Bola Tinubu says he will create at least 56 CNG stations in the first phase of his administration. Mr. Dimpa spoke to our correspondent on this.
Working on synergy with the NBRA to secure, because ordinarily we believe that if you have a PG license, you should be allowed to operate CNG if you have the space. But we are meant to understand that you secure another license for CNG retailing. So we are going to synergize with the NBRA to secure the necessary licenses. It's not as easy as the ease of doing business. The bureaucracy in securing these things are not as easy as it's supposed to be.
Mr. Dimpa, while speaking on the recruitment before license can be issued, said some of his members have applied but are waiting for Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Moving on, some commercial tricycle drivers in Rumekini, Alu area of Port Harcourt, say they are aggrieved over a rise in operational ticket price from 500 naira to 700 naira. Some members of the Community Tricycle Riders Association, who visited the Cool Wazobia Info Office complex, criticized the leadership for raising tickets cost without considering the current economic challenges. They also raised concerns about alleged frequent extortion by policemen from the Choba division.
They are increasing the tickets every day. We, the keke operators, we are no more comfortable on the price which they are giving to us, plus other additional payment. So if we are like calculating all the money we are paying each day, we are paying up to 400 to 500 naira for police. So it's a very big threat to us in that we need government of Rivers State to do something so that this thing will not escalate between keke people and police.
Person will come out road in the morning, buy fuel upon how the fuel dey cost now. For how you go as you just dey come out for early morning, people go hold you, they say no buy ticket. Now that ticket when they set in the increase and police dey road, you must give them 100 naira.
The thing is bothering us. The police at Choba leaves their area and be coming to Rumekini and Alu area to be relaying us.
Reacting to this, the chairman of the Rumekini Tricycle Operators Association, JC Amadi, denied claims of commercial tricycle drivers.
We did not increase any ticket. There's nothing like that. Forging what is not true. Our ticket fee remained the normal price. Our ticket fee is 500 naira. The decision is through that police station. Through that police station does not collect money in Keke riders in making injunction.
Away from that, River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has asked the Senate to go beyond public hearing and blame game and ensure that the LMA axis of the East-West Road is fixed. Governor Fubara said this yesterday when the Senate ad hoc committee on the non-completion of the East-West Road and the LMA Ogoni corridor visited him at the Government House in Port Harcourt. The governor wondered why previous administrations failed to fix the road despite the huge budgetary allocation.
This issue has always been ongoing. We have always complained about the East-West Road. Moreover, the junction remains marked. Nothing happens. In fact, the controller here, the man from this awards, I wrote in my letter, we should try and see because I have to pass that road to my place. For about 2 months, we can't access my place. We have to pass through Oyibo. It's as bad as that. I don't want to look what they are going to work.
Our correspondent reports that the committee members include Senator Barry Piggy and former Governor of Edo State Adams Oshomole. After inspecting the stretch of the East-West Road from Delta State to River State, Chairman of the Senate Ad hoc Committee Abdul Ningi said it is disappointing that despite the huge resources from the Niger Delta, the East-West Road is still in a poor state. Senator Ningi said their discovery is disturbing.
We are also mindful of the fact that 80% of the resources of this country comes from this area, and we are dismayed and it's lamentable that in the last 3 to 4 decades, this region has not seen adequate representation in terms of infrastructure development. And because of our concern, we sought the East-West Road would have been a legacy project for past successive governments, whereby if Nigerians come to Niger Delta, they will find out one of the legacy projects of successive governments.
Senator Ningi said there will be a public hearing to establish how much has been released and spent so far on the road.
Doctors, the government's representative of the South, the government people, the Federal Ministry of Works, the NNPC, the Ministry of Finance, will all sit down in Abuja and invite people to bring in their excuses. First, we want to establish how much has been spent over time on the road. How much for what job? Who has done what and why?
On his part, Senator Adams Oshomole blamed the delayed completion of the East-West Road on the poor budgetary process.
It's a shame that a road that is so critical and central to the economy of the country that is left in such a bad state over a long period of time. What do we need now to get this road fixed? National Assembly has to change its budgeting system. There is no need to award new roads until we have finished the ones already awarded and that they are done to standard. And if a contractor does a job and the job fails, there should be sanction even after he might have collected his retention fee.
The committee earlier visited Delta State and will visit Akwa Ibom State soon. As you may know, the East-West Road is one of the strategic and critical road infrastructures which cut across the south-south geopolitical zone of the country. Still to come, resident doctors list conditions to suspend strike. Stay tuned. Governors of Rivers State Nyesom Wike and Kaduna State Nasir El-Rufai at the presidential villa in Abuja yesterday. Both former governors are ministerial nominees. However, while former Governor Wike was screened and confirmed by the Senate, the upper legislative chamber is yet to confirm Mr. El-Rufai because of an alleged security report. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, says the statement claiming that she is being attacked for visiting President Bola Tinubu is false. In a post on Twitter yesterday evening, the former Minister of Finance described the statement, which she said was being circulated on WhatsApp, as wickedly false, designed to create mischief among Nigerians. She also asked that the statement be disregarded. The Nigerian Police Force has launched the School Protection Squad to ensure the safety of all school children in the country. In his remarks during the launch in Abuja yesterday, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, said the squad is a specialized unit within the Nigerian Police Force tasked with drawing up policies and engaging relevant stakeholders to ensure the safety and protection of students, teachers, and school infrastructure.
In the years past, the schools used to be the safest place for our children. The schools are still safe, but since the country recorded the first incidents of school kidnap in April 2014, criminal elements such as kidnapping, criminal activities such as kidnapping for ransom, banditry, terrorism and cultism have continued to threaten the security of our educational institutions as well as the safety of our school children.
In other news, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has listed the release of the circular for one-for-one replacement of clinical staff and payment of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund as minimum conditions to call off its indefinite strike, which started on July 26. The national president of the association, Emeka Oji, said though the planned nationwide protest was suspended, the association is giving the federal government 72 hours to meet some of its urgent demands to call off its strike.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
A candidate in Ecuador's forthcoming presidential election has been shot dead at a campaign rally. Fernando Villavicencio, a member of the country's National Assembly, was attacked as he left the event in the northern city of Quito on Wednesday. A member of his campaign team told local media Mr. Villavicencio was getting into a car when a man stepped forward and shot him in the head.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this morning, you heard residents are eating dead fishes that littered the environment after a fatal explosion of a fuel dump in Okari Jetty, Okrika local government area of Rivers State. A Senate committee has inspected the Rivers State axis of the East-West Road. President Bola Tinubu has met with former governors of Rivers State Nyesom Wike and Kaduna State Nasir El-Rufai at the presidential villa in Abuja. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has said that statements claiming that she's been attacked for visiting President Bola Tinubu is false. Resident doctors have listed conditions the federal government must meet before it suspends its ongoing strike. On the foreign scene, Ecuador presidential candidate has been shot dead at a rally. The news was edited by Choma Ezewa for Cloudy Weather in Port Harcourt this morning. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Good morning.